They say moments define us, and I'll never forget mine. The day a cop pointed a loaded gun at my chest, not knowing I was the one who trains the very Navy SEALs who protect this country. It started like any other Tuesday. I just wrapped a brutal training session at the naval base, sweat, sand, and salt water, still clinging to me like armor. My guys' 6 SEAL candidates had just nailed a high-risk extraction drill. I dismissed them for water break, cracked a joke with my lieutenant, and hit the road thinking only about almond milk and protein bars. I pulled into a fancy little corner store in East Brookside, mostly white, mostly quiet, where folks gave you side eyes for wearing combat boots instead of yoga pants. I wasn't dressed like a soldier, just a woman with dark skin, tired eyes, and a mission to get groceries before rush hour. The cashier watched me the second I stepped in. Didn't greet me, didn't smile, just kept looking like I was some kind of threat. Meanwhile, the white lady next to me got offered to have a blessed day. I've dealt with it before. Every black person in America knows that stare. You learn to live with it, or you pretend to. I grabbed bread berries, protein bars, and headed to the register. That's when I saw the patrol car pull in, not cruising by. No, he parked fast, angled, aggressive, like someone preparing for a takedown. My gut tensed, not out of fear, instinct. The officer entered like he already had a suspect in mind, hand hovering over his gun, and he looked straight at me. Dispatch got a suspicious person call, he said loud enough for the whole store to hear. The clerk didn't hesitate. That's her, he said, pointing right at me like I wasn't even a person, just some item on a shelf. I kept my voice calm. I'm just buying groceries, officer. I can answer any questions. He stepped closer. ID, now. I'm reaching for my wallet, I said slowly, moving my right hand. It's a protocol I teach soldiers operating in hostile territory. Narrate every move. Show your hands. De-escalate. But it didn't matter. Hands where I can see them, he barked, and just like that, gun drawn. That moment, it's burned into me. Not fear, not anger, just a cold awareness. The same one you feel when you're clearing a house in Kandahar. A man with a badge shaking, pointing a weapon he barely understood at a woman who had trained men to disarm terrorists. I was reaching for my ID. I repeated, I'm a commander in the United States Navy. On your knees, he ordered. I didn't move. Officer, I said, I am Commander Jordan West. I train special operations units. I am not armed. I am not a threat. That made a pause, just for a second. Enough time for another officer to enter, older, more experienced. Pearson, what's going on, he asked. Suspicious person. Matched description of last week's shoplifter. Black female, athletic build. You ever hear someone reduce your whole existence to a lazy stereotype? Because that's what that was. He might as well have said, she fits the description of any black woman who doesn't look like she belongs. The older cop, Davis, asked if I had any weapons. I said no. Explained again about the ID. The kid behind me had his phone out, filming everything. I saw the clerk shift, uncomfortable now that the situation had gone too far. Davis asked Pearson to stand down. He didn't. I don't take orders from her. Pearson growled, stepping forward with his cuffs. You don't give the orders here, I replied. Quiet, controlled, deadly. He reached for my wrist, but I shifted my stance. Subtle, calculated. The kind of movement you train for, enough to avoid getting grabbed, but not enough to be called aggressive. Stop resisting, he shouted. But I wasn't resisting. Everyone saw that. The phones caught it too. That's when the store door opened, and in walked Lieutenant Commander Marcus Hall, Navy, my old teammate, now liaison with local law enforcement. He froze when he saw me. Commander West, he said, his voice cutting through the chaos. What the hell's going on? Pearson still hadn't holstered his weapon. She's training SEALs at Coronado, Marcus told them. She's been on more missions than both of you combined. Pearson didn't back down. She was acting suspicious. No, Marcus said, his voice rising. She was buying almond milk. That's when the energy shifted. Eventually, Pearson lowered his weapon. Davis apologized. But it didn't end there. See, within hours, the video hit the internet. Black Navy officer held at gunpoint while shopping. People were outraged. Others said the cop was just doing his job. The department called it a misunderstanding. But behind closed doors, they came for me. They flagged my clearance, started an internal review. My mother got a call anonymous. No anonymous. Tell your daughter to drop it if she wants you to stay safe. They even sent a man to my apartment, unmarked badge, no name tag, asking questions that had nothing to do with that day. That's when I stopped being a bystander in my own story. I called Marcus. I called Eliza, a civil rights lawyer I trust with my life. I reached out to the guys I trained, the ones who had seen me carry wounded soldiers through hell and back. We didn't go public right away. No, we built a case. We got whistleblowers, body cam footage that had malfunctioned but was backed up on other servers, records showing Pearson had been involved in multiple racial complaints, all dismissed. And we found the connection. Chief Tomlinson, the police chief, had deep financial ties to Pearson's father's security company. It wasn't just racism, it was corruption. We made our move at dawn, press releases, full footage, civil rights lawsuit, testimonies. Even a Navy admiral who'd served with me gave a statement. The department scrambled. They suspended Pearson, then Tomlinson resigned. But the system didn't just roll over. They offered me a deal money apology, even a promotion if I'd walk away. I didn't, because this wasn't just about me. It was about every person who's ever had to narrate reaching for their wallet like it might get them killed. About every black veteran who wore the uniform overseas only to be treated like a threat back home. And you know what the hardest part was? Not the threats, not the silence from people I'd trained who were too afraid to speak up. No, it was my mom calling me, begging me to stop. You did what you had to do, baby, she said. Don't let them take everything. But I couldn't walk away. Because somewhere there's a little girl who's going to walk into a store one day just like I did. And I want her to walk out feeling like she belongs, not like she survived. So now I train more than SEALs. I train police. I train community watch teams. I work with people who actually want to do better. And I tell them this. Your badge doesn't make you powerful. Your choices do. Pearson. He pled out to avoid trial. He lost his badge, his pension, his leverage. But don't mistake that for justice. Justice isn't one man losing his job. It's a whole system changing. And that work, that's just beginning. Now let me ask you something. What would you have done in my place? Would you take the apology and move on? Or go all in and risk everything to break a broken system? Drop a amen in the comments if you believe change only comes when we push back. Drop a tukumum if you think the risk is too high and sometimes it's smarter to walk away. And tell me this, have you ever been misjudged, underestimated, or treated like you didn't belong, only to prove them all wrong? Because if you have, welcome to the club. We fight smart. We fight together. And we never, ever back down.